Hey guys, it's GalahadB again, and I am back with my coverage of round 2 of the Top Cut. This is game 2. I have won the first game as Shadow, so now I'm playing 3 people against Tyler's Shadow. And yeah, this is my role for turn 1. So this is a little tricky. It's always the question of, do you want to play Grimbjorn or do you want to hang on to Scouts? I'm not really sure what's correct. But I don't need to do anything right now. I can still pass, so that's what I'm going to do and see what Shadows think. And now I see he must have Soren first, and that makes me think, oh, he's going for the Dew line from Dol Guldur. And since I don't have an army mustard I kind of want to. Well, I want him to not attack the geoline if possible, because in my opinion, it's very high variance if you march the Dol Guldur army to Woodland Realm. That can work, and it can make for very quick games. Sometimes you shoot yourself in the foot by making Lorien a really impossible stronghold. So I'm not sure if it's necessarily correct, but since I can't really defend against it at all right now without using a ring, my idea is to, okay, play Grimbjorn, and maybe that alone will deter him from the Dew line, which might be good for him, as in him not attacking the Dew line might be beneficial for him, but it also means it's probably not going to be a lightning fast game, which is in my best interest because I don't know how quick I'm gonna be. So yeah, the idea is to make it a slower game, which hopefully plays to my advantage. So I play Grimbjorn. I cycle into new card, and he starts by mustering Isengard. I move the Fellowship once. I'm not really sure why I do that now. I could do that later as well, but yeah. So now I pass again, and he does not move Dol Guldur to Woodland Realm, which makes me happy because this way I don't need to think if I want to use a ring or not. So that's completely fine with me. Yeah, I move again. The question here is, do you play another card with a Palantir and then move, so that if you run into a 3 and you sacrifice Gandalf, you at least got another draw out of it. But I wanted the flexibility of being able to hide with a Palantir, using Strider Guide ability in case I get hit and revealed. And I'm not exactly sure if I want to play a Power to Grade already, because this early on, it might not cost him a lot to discard it with a useless die, and it kind of gives it away earlier than I have to. So I'm debating now between using a ring and moving a third time, which is a little risky, but if it works out, it's amazing. 3 steps on turn 1 and Gandalf dead, or maybe not even get hit at all. But then I decide, I think, to just play a Power Degrade because I do have a Palantir sitting there. I get an extra draw out of it with Gandalf, and I'm not that keen on getting revealed on step 3. So yeah, I play it. I draw into Caliban, that's perfect. He gets Saruman, that's fine. And yeah, he rolls a bunch of eyes, and I unfortunately don't have a will, but that's okay. Could have been a lot worse, I think. I mean, he only got a single attack die, and I'm not sure he can make good use out of all his Palantirs. So yeah, I pass. He plays Bits of Mordor, gearing up for a Lorien assault, which is okay with me. I mean, I do have Party Grade, I do have Caliban in hand, so I'm very happy if he goes for Lorien, and very happy that he did not march to the U line. I move and I'm safe again, so this is a great start for me. And yeah, he's playing Warm Tongue, which not the strongest card in my opinion. Could have maybe been a good discard for Power to Grade, but I guess he didn't have an army card. Oh, he did actually. Oh, that's interesting. So he could have just discarded Power to Grade using Denethor's Folly and Warm Tongue, which is I think what I would have done. But yeah, he chose otherwise. Interesting. Alright, so I'm revealed on step 4, which is fine with me. I'm past Moria now. It's a zero. Oh yeah, and I somehow thought I did use a ring and moved 3 times turn 1 so that I would be on step 5. But I am on step 4, that's correct. Yeah, and I draw 2 reveal, perfect, so Gandalf dies. That could not have gone much better, I don't think. Well, it could have been a 3, I guess, but at least this way, it's another reveal to Algan. He plays Orc Patrol, gets unlucky, gets an eye. Yeah, which is obviously very lucky for me. But at this point, Fellowship is very healthy, so probably not a good idea to try and corrupt them. But of course, I mean, something like Orc Patrol is almost always a good play because as long as you don't hit an eye, you have made the mortar pool more difficult for the Fellowship, while also inflicting some damage or at least getting a reveal. So it's almost always a good choice. But yeah, when you get an eye, it's just plain bad. That was unfortunate for him. Yeah, and I debate what am I gonna do. I don't need to do character Old Forest Road super quickly. I think I'm debating on getting the elves closer to war. But that risks not rolling any more army musters, which is also bad. And I don't know yet if the army from Galahad ever makes it all the way to the dual line. It might not, and then the double army move might be somewhat wasted. I think I decide to muster the elves. No, I do go ahead with a double army move. Okay. Yeah, and he does focus Gondor now. Which, again, is fine with me, because that means usually a slower game, and that's what I like. And yeah, again, no real, but it's still fine. He's low on attacks. He's only got 2 attacks here, which would be enough to get the Witch King. But that would also give me chances to muster up in Dol Amroth, so taking Dol Amroth would become very difficult, and with me having power to grade, it's getting a little more difficult to get a second Elven Stronghold on the siege before I can muster up. So yeah, really his attacks and his low attack dice especially mean that it might be difficult for him to find easy targets. So I move before he gets rerolls onto me, but he hits me anyways, so that didn't really pay off. So yeah, he attacks. Osgiliath without a card. I figured that with him only having 2 attacks and me probably not playing a card this turn, I'm planning on using the Palantir to hide, that I can just throw my cards out because I'll have to discard otherwise. He doesn't hit, I don't hit, but like I said, I would have had to discard anyways. So now Minas Tirith is decently well defended at least, without me having to muster up anything. So if he attacks Minas Tirith, I can muster into Dol Amroth. I move again, I get hit again. But fortunately I don't random into Strider. I'm always leaning towards taking a random on the 3, because otherwise corruption might become a very big issue if you have a lot of companions in the fellowship. And then if you take a 3 and don't take a random on it, you might go up to like 4 or 5 corruption, and then if you run into a 1 later on. I mean, if you didn't take a random on a 3, you definitely ain't gonna take a random on a 1. So you take that as corruption as well. So you might end up like being on 6 or 7 corruption before even making Mordo. And if you never took a random, you might have a lot of companions in the Fellowship. And then Mordo can get really nasty if Shadow allocates a lot of eyes. So I feel like it's probably worth the risk of losing Strider. And this, at least if you lose Strider to 3, then that was corruption efficient. So of course he attacks Minister, he wants that Witch King, makes sense. I must and Dolemroth. Because I mean he has the Southruns at war, so I don't know if he has Corsairs. I mean, I figured he probably doesn't, or he would have probably played it differently, but still it's something I respect and fear greatly. So it makes sense that I get Dolemroth ready. So yeah, I discard the Great Company, clearly the worst card in my hand. Well, okay, maybe you could argue I Will Go Alone might be even worse. I'm not getting Aragorn this game. Fellowship is moving pretty fast. And I mean, I didn't even get Gandalf yet, so. But I will this turn. Yeah, I say finally, it's turn 4, it's like not super late for Gandalf. But it's the 3rd turn where Gandalf the White is dead, Gandalf the Great is dead, so I was expected, I guess, to get him on turn 3, but this is fine. I've seen a lot worse. And yeah, I do have Book of Mezabel in hand. I'm not sure that I really want to play that because it seems like he's not focusing the dual line at all. But I also don't have an end card, so I figure, well, might as well just get him in there. And then if Isengard gets a little too frisky and I do draw into an end card, I could maybe separate a Hobbit if I take another random, or maybe with I Will Go Alone. I don't know. Felt like this gives me more options. Yeah, now he plays Denethor's Folly, which I guess makes sense. If you watch my videos, you might know that I'm not the biggest fan of Denethor's Folly. Like I don't have. I mean, I do have good cards like with Daylight and Shield Wall, but I don't want to play either of those two cards really. And I also don't want to play Book of Mezabel because I'm thinking of getting the dwarves to war. So yeah, it would have been kind of tough playing cards into that. And like I said, it makes a great discard for power to create. Both these cards on the table, actually, in my opinion. Yeah. So I move. I'm safe. That's great. And he attacks. Ministerial takes a lot of hits on Onslaught, which I guess makes sense because he has a big army coming up from South Ithilien. But he does not press, which is good for me because that means he needs to invest at least one more die. And I'm worrying less and less about Dolemroth because he makes no attempt to bring it down quickly. So I might have time enough to muster up another lead and maybe even another leader. And then I also have Imrahil in hand. And like I said, Lorien is looking pretty good with Celeborn's Galadrim in hand. And he must expect me having Book of Mezabel or Fear 5 Foes, which will probably make him very careful of attacking into the dual line. So yeah, it's looking pretty good right now, I would say. Yeah, I move again, I get hit, it's a 1. I don't mind the 1 now, since I took a random on the 3. Yeah, I need positions for an attack into Dolemroth out of Osgiliath, which makes a lot of sense, but it also means that I can probably stall him for a really long time, because it's going to be a very tough siege for him, I think. And yeah, I will have time to muster at least one more lead into the Lamroth, so I decide to muster some more annoyances into Pelagear and a leader into the Lamroth, and really try and make the Lamroth super uncomfortable for him. So he gets 2 hits, unfortunate, otherwise I could have made it more annoying by putting 2 regulars, one in Lamedon and one in Lassanage. But yeah, that's... Oh yeah, and here I discard a blue tile and I will go alone. To figure with another blue tile in hand, I probably don't want to play 2, and the hunt pool, like, only 4 standard tiles have been drawn so far, so it's looking, and Fellowship is super healthy, so it's looking like if I get enough time, it's probably gonna be a pretty good dunk. So I don't need everything I can get. Yeah, here I think I debate whether I want to move right away with a will for fear of Day Without Dawn, or if I want to be more of a nuisance and muster up first and lame down in Lassanage. But I think I decide, yeah, I only need 2 steps to make Mordor, so let's not risk it. If he has Day, then it's gonna be annoying, and I need to spend a ring. And then if he also has Cruel Weather, then that wouldn't even get me to Mordor probably. But now with the will gone, I'm free to muster up, and his army is now probably too small to take Dol Amroth through Imrahil. Um, so that's great. And yeah, I move again, I'm safe. So I'm in Mordor now, unless he has Cruel Weather, which I didn't know at that time if he had it or not. We can see he does not have it. And odds of him having it were pretty slim, because he's only down to 19 cards, so he's only seen 5. And yeah, I joke a little that I just found Gods of the Citadel right after he took Minas Tirith, but that probably wouldn't have mattered too much. Um, so yeah, he takes 1 hit and 1 from charge, so he takes 2 hits. I only take 1 hit, and he didn't have to, but he said stop card before I even took my casualty. Like usually in situations where it's a bit tense, I try and play by the rules that the attacker has to take his casualties first, and then I decide how I want to take my casualties. And if I suspected that he would probably press, then maybe I take my casualties differently. But I feel like his army is not that strong. My army is still pretty strong, so I probably would have taken the regular anyways. But certainly after seeing him saying stop, that's like, okay, yeah, for sure I'm gonna take the regular. And then play Imrahil. But like I said, I probably would have done that regardless. Oh yeah, and here I misclicked. I wanted to play Imrahil, and I mustered an elite and a leader into Dol Amroth, but I somehow dragged Book of Mizabul out. So now he's confused because he wasn't sure if I was gonna play Book of Mizabul or Imrahil. So yeah. So he musters up in Orthanc now, which makes a lot of sense because clearly I am not threatening ends whatsoever. So you can probably take it for almost free. And just when I was debating on whether I need to use Ring now or defend Helm's Deep from an attack from Isengard, he plays Nazgul Search, so that saves me the question of do I need to do something with the ring or not. It does make sense for him so that he can set up his attack on Helm's Deep. Yeah, it's tricky. On one hand, bluffing that you might have Cruel Weather could get an extra ring and an action out of me. But if I call the bluff, then it's gonna be bad. I just think in this case you could have probably attacked first and then either use the ring, or if I don't, then you play Nazgul Search, or just besiege Helm's Deep instead. So I was relieved because that saved me the trouble of deciding. I take a random because I want to get to 4 corruption or above so that I'm safe from Morgul Wound, in case he does have it. Decently happy with drawing Hobbit out. Would have been even happier if it was Gimli or Boromir. And now I debate, should I hide or should I move the guys into Helm's Deep? I think I move into Helm's Deep. I think hiding would also be fine. If he had a tile drawing card, he may have played that instead of Nazgul Search. Probably not. Oh, right, and he plays Breaking now. Right, so yeah, I was thinking if he maybe had a tile drawing card, but it turns out he played Nazgul Search because he had a reveal damage card in hand. Which would have been okay, like if it was Morgul Wound, it would have been 1 corruption, that's fine. If it was Lure of the Ring, then not fun, but as long as it's not Strider, I don't mind it at all. And if it's Strider, then, well, tough luck, but I'm still fine on corruption at least. But a breaking free, that's tough. That does mean that corruption is still at a manageable level. Like I'm at effective 2 corruption going into Mordor, and the Mordor pool is gonna be okay because all 3s will be gone, no red tiles in. So a bunch of 2s, 1s, and a 0 left, and eyes. But yeah, right until now I was feeling very confident, and the breaking 3 meant that suddenly there is a real danger of losing to ring victory. Like, it's not super high, but it is definitely a chance that if he ever plays red tiles, then things might get ugly. But okay, I mean, for now, Hunt Pool is good. Fellowship reasonably healthy. I'm debating, was it a mistake not to hide myself? But I mean, the only really bad reveal tile was breaking, and if it's a breaking 1, 2, 0, or an eye, it's not that bad. So only a breaking 3 would be really bothersome, and the odds of breaking into a 3, I think, weren't higher than the odds of him having one of the 2 remaining tile drawing cards, and then getting an extra reveal into Moranen or Minas Morgul would be so painful. I think you can make cases for either one of the choices. I think this was just unlucky. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe hiding would have been better. Like I could have moved the guys into Helm's Deep next turn. But like I said, I was more afraid of tile drawing cards getting 2 tiles out of me. So yeah, he gets only 1 eye in Mordor. I only get a single move, which is not ideal. But I still have 3 rings, so I'm not that worried. It doesn't look like he's gonna win anytime soon. He's only on 3 victory points. Dol Amroth is not gonna be easy. And even Helm's Deep's not gonna be completely free. He still has to get rid of Power to Great if he wants Elven Strongholds. So yeah, looking pretty good so far. Yeah, he now attacks Rohan, which was expected. I move into an eye, which is fine. It's only 1 corruption, and being at 6 corruption with Bilbo's Song in hand, I'm not really worried. Morgul Wound still fine. Um, yeah, he attacks Helm's Deep, makes sense, and rolls 3 6s. Not great. But at least I roll 4 hits back thanks to Ents Rage. I mean, this was a very efficient Ents Rage, right? I got 4 extra hits because of Ents Rage. Kind of the best case scenario. But still, like with his 3 hits, Rohan will fall. Um, so he deletes his actions, but yeah, he could still press. I mean, no new information has been revealed. But he decides to stop and draw, which was surprising to me, because he still had 10 hit points against only 3. But okay, I mean, Rohan is at war now. I could muster up some in Westernnet and Edoras. And I mean, if you don't go for the dual line and you don't have anyone heading towards the Shire, you probably want Edoras too. So it makes some sense. But he is running out of time pretty rapidly. Like he has to win next turn pretty much to win the game. Because I'll likely dunk on turn 8. Unless I get super unlucky, I think. Or he draws a bunch of red tiles. Yeah, he attacks Helm's Deep again, does not get a single hit. And prepares for reinforcements for Dol Amroth and for Lorien. Yeah, I give him the first string to move again because it's only 2 eyes in the box. And I do run into another eye tile. And for 2 damage and reveal, I'm feeling like, okay, I really don't want to go up to 9 corruption. Because then Isildur's Bane. Well, okay, I guess all the 3s are gone, but still, that's not comfortable at all. And then especially, well, A, Candles of Corpses could kill me, and B, what if I run into 1? Do I want to take Strider down to 1, just so that I avoid going up to 10 corruption? That could be a big problem. And the good thing is that now that 2 eyes are gone, the remaining pool is looking super friendly. Like, even against 4 or 5 eyes, I should still move because the odds of him drawing an eye are so low. Well, I guess it depends. Like, if I'm revealed and can hide instead of moving and he's not doing much progress militarily, then I don't really have to. But the odds would be in my favor, and I think it would be justified to still move. Alright, turn 7. I'm thinking, okay, I can probably win next turn if I get some progress here. But I only rolled a single movement again, and he's low on eyes as well, so yeah, not quite what I was hoping for. And this now makes it a possibility that I cannot or might not be able to dunk on turn 8. Yeah, but what can I do? It's looking extremely unlikely that he can win this turn. Like, he would need Helm's Deep and Dol Amroth and Lorien and then also Edoras, while also getting rid of a Power to Grade. He's already low on cards. So I'm not that worried that he can win this turn. Even though maybe technically he could, but yeah, he's not even besieging Lorien yet. He needs to merge up these armies, needs more backup for Dol Amroth. So yeah, a win this turn is basically off the table. But yeah, with my really low movement, it's possible that I can win this turn, next turn, and that's what's really worrying me. So I move now in case he has another red tile, and it's a 0, so I'm very happy about that. And yeah, there was no disadvantage of giving him a ring early because he had a ring sitting there anyway, so if he wants to use a ring, he can. No real reason to hold on to it. And I'm gonna move this turn anyways. And I'm probably not going to draw another character card with one of my Palantirs, so yeah, might as well do that. Well, actually, maybe I am, but I'm planning on playing Bilbo's Song this turn. So he's cycling into more character cards to hopefully stall me next turn. Um, oh, I ran through that a little too quick. So he managed to wipe out Helm's Deep while drawing another character card. So Helm's Deep is gone now, but I muster a couple of guys in Rohan to make him waste even more dice. So I think I did the math. If he uses this muster to discard 2 cards for power 2 grade, then he needs 2 attacks into Western Net and Edoras, then 1 more attack for Dol Amroth, merge up in Dimril Dale, and then put Lorien under siege, but even then he will be short 1 die to take Lorien. And that's leaving aside the fact that he would have almost no leadership in Dol Amroth and would need to win the siege with only 1 die. So yeah, now it's completely impossible for him to win this turn. But he wipes out Rohan. Makes sense. I can't react. I already used Ring, and I don't really care about Rohan anymore. I just care about dunking the Ring next turn, hopefully. So yeah, I do draw another card here because I don't feel enough pressure to play any. I mean, Book of Mazabu will not do anything for me this game. Nothing else is really playable. And so with 2 Palantirs in hand, I'm not going to play 2 cards, so might as well play 1 and draw another. I mean, I guess I could have played Caliborn and Bilbo Song. But in my mind, I'm thinking about dunking the Ring next turn, so I don't need to play Caliborn's Galadrim this turn. So he besieges Dol Amroth now with a weak army. And yeah, he played Mumakil, because usually when you besiege Dol Amroth and you have 2 elites in there, it's gonna be Southern elites. But not this time. The Southern elites are sitting in Lamedown, so him playing Mumakil is not allowed. And I have already shown him my card, so from what I gather, it's now my choice between him getting his card back and only letting my combat card stand, or redoing the whole card selection process. But since he now has additional information from my hand, and since this is a tournament game, I think I decide to proceed with just my card. So yeah, right. And since Mumakil got returned, the 5 doesn't hit, so he gets an extra reroll. So yeah, that's I think 3 hits from me, only 1 hit from him. So Dol Amroth is looking mighty tough for him to crack. And yeah, I play File now because I feel like it's with this low corruption, I might not have to play Bilbo Song, and he plays Shelob. So now I do worry because the Shelob 6 would end me. And so there's a lot of debate of what to do here. The problem with this roll is if I don't start out with a will, he might have Day Without Dawn and remove it from me. And then if I run into red tile and an I might not have enough movement to dunk this turn, even with the ring. And he rolled a bunch of attacks again. So this time there is definitely a chance that he might win the game this turn. So that would not be ideal. But if I start out with a will and move, I might run into Shelob 6 or even Shelob 5, and then he might have something to punish me, and then I might just get corrupted. So ideally, I would want to play a Palantir first, play Bilbo's Song, and then start moving. But like I said, that risks Day Without Dawn, and with 3 movement plus a ring, and being effectively on 5 corruption with Bilbo's Song, like my chances to dunk this turn are overwhelmingly massive. And since the only tile that really punishes moving here is Shelob's Lair, and even then only if it's a really high draw, the odds I think are so low that I feel like the risk of him having Day Without Dawn are much higher. And then it's any red and an eye that would stop me. I decide, I think, to move with the will. Because yeah, odds are very good for me. And he does run into Shelob. So I'm feeling very anxious. I have lost games to Shelob 6 this year. 2 or 3, I think. So I'm very, very scared. But fortunately, he only rolls a 2. And I am very relieved. And I was debating on whether I want to reveal to that or not, but I feel like, okay, if I reveal to that, it's not not that likely that I can still dunk this turn, and with him having so many attacks, that could become problematic. So I decide to take the 2 because I have Bilbo's Song in hand, which I play now. He gets in another red tile. I move again because I definitely am going to move a second time. And then we'll see if I move a third time or not. But it is only a 2. So I can reveal to that. I can only use 1 ring turn anyways, and then I'm left with only 2 dice. And corruption is an issue now, of course. Even though Sheila was pretty kind, but I'm sitting on 8 corruption. If he uses a ring to turn a die into an eye, then eyes would corrupt me, even though there's only 2 of them left in the pool, but still, that's 2 more tiles that would kill me. So I am worried about corruption, which is why I hide. Because that means now either he moves 1 of his action die into the pool to generate an extra eye and stop me from moving this turn. But then I don't have to move this turn. Like with this situation, if you remove 1 die and then he also has to discard Power to Grey to get to Lorien. Otherwise his dice won't be enough to take Woodland Realm. Then I don't think he really has a way to win this turn. So I can just sit it out, wait for next turn, and unless he rolls 3 natural eyes, that's like rolling 3 6s out of 9 dice. That's not very likely. It could happen, but then still, I mean, it's only 2 eyes in the box, and the reds won't kill me. So I still have decent chances, even if he rolls a ton of eyes. And it's unlikely that he would roll a ton of eyes. So he he can always make that choice after attacking Dol Amroth. He attacks Dol Amroth now. Gets 3 hits. And Vala does something too. So Enrage and Vala have been good for me this game. Yeah, he tries to cycle into more character cards. Can now play Mumakil, but I can counter with advantageous position. But yeah, Lorien's not, Dol Amroth's not looking like it's gonna hold out, and indeed it falls. And he does not move a ring into the hunt box. So I was thinking, like, if he were to use a ring, move 1 of his dice into the box, then he would have to discard Power to Grade, which even if he has a character card and an army card, that's at least 1 more Diagon, and then he would be completely out of cards. Then he would have to besiege Lorien, and then I can play Caliban's GalahadB, getting hopefully a useful combat card, and then he has 2 dice to take Lorien without playing any cards. So that's 4 rounds of combat against 7 hit points. That's doable, I guess. Not really sure. But without any cards, I'm thinking probably not great odds of success. Yeah, and it turns out he didn't have another army card. He used Corsairs of Umbar to make sure he gets Dol Amroth. Um, we talked afterwards about it, and I think he, in hindsight, would have rather used Onslaught, which I think makes sense. But still, I mean, pretty beefy Lorien with Caliborn's Galadrim, and Shadow not being able to play any cards at all with only 2 attack dice. It seems like an uphill battle. It seems winnable, but kind of risky. And so in the end, he decides not to give me a ring back and get an eye in the box. And so I think, okay, for sure, I'm gonna try and win this turn then, because yeah, only the 2 reds will stop me. The ice will only put me to 11 corruption, which won't be enough. And even then, there's a chance that he's not taking Lorien. He's very low on cards. And the Witch King is not even there, so he doesn't even cycle into new cards in Lorien. So yeah, I move again. 80% chance is good enough for me. And I get lucky, get a good tile, and I win the game. And then we discuss afterwards that he was thinking about moving the Dimril Dale army to take Woodland Realm instead of taking on Lorien, because he didn't have the army card. And we think if he would win that fight, but yeah, I mean, he did have 5 attacks left. 1, 2, 3, 4 to Woodland Realm, and then 5 for the siege. I had almost nothing to save the Old Forest Road army, so it's kind of likely that they don't make it into Woodland Realm. And then, let's say 1 regular and the leader survives, then I have 4 HP in Woodland Realm against like an 11 HP army. That should be enough to take it with 3 dice, especially if you have Onslaught in hand. So yeah, he probably would have won military victory this turn, but probably not in Lorien. And he didn't have the option to go to Woodland Realm if he had given me a ring, right? If we take this die out of the equation, then that's only 4 attacks. And that 1, 2, 3, and then besiege Woodland Realm, but you're short 1 die to take it. So, especially after using Corsairs, he had no hopes of getting Lorien this turn. If he gives me a ring, he has no hopes of taking Woodland Realm anymore. Yeah, so maybe you hold on to Corsairs, use Onslaught to make sure you get Dol Amroth. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe risk not playing any card in Dol Amroth, because the army is still pretty big. But if you don't take Dol Amroth with that die, then you definitely don't win this turn anymore. It's a rough situation, I think, for the Shadow. But so yeah, in the end, I win this game on turn 8. And I can show you the dice statistics in a second here. So you can see Shadow. Oh, that's reversed actually. So I rolled very low on hits, but crucially, Shadow is -5 on 6s. So that's definitely good for the 3 people. Other than that, the dice were pretty average, I think. Yeah, he was low on eyes, low on Palantirs, which is usually great, but he was on a lot of pressure because my fellowship was pretty fast, and with him deciding to go for Gondor, and then after he took Ministerial's go for dual Amroth, he faced some pretty heavy resistance, which forced him to reinforce his armies a lot, which cost him a lot of dice. So yeah, that was pretty tough going for the Shadow, and very fortunate for the Fellowship. Other than the breaking of the Fellowship, drawing a 3 tile. But yeah, so this is the game, and the end of round 2 of the top card. I already know who I'm gonna face in the quarterfinals. It's gonna be Mad Robin. So yeah, hopefully we'll get some more exciting games there. I'll definitely do videos of those games too. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day and see you soon. Bye bye.